If you already own a compact camera, the question you are probably asking right now is not whether the Sony RX100 VIII sounds impressive on paper. It is whether it is actually worth upgrading to, or whether your current camera or a rival like the Canon G7X III or the Panasonic LX100 II still gets the job done just fine. That is exactly what we are breaking down in this comparison, using everything currently known and leaked about the RX100 VIII stack directly against the cameras people are actually choosing between right now. Start with the sensor, because that is where the biggest gap appears to be opening up. The RX100 VII, which has been the flagship of the line for years now, uses a 1-inch stack sensor that was genuinely impressive when it launched, but the underlying design is now several years old. The Canon G7X III uses a similar 1-inch sensor as well, and the Panasonic LX100 II uses a slightly larger 4/3 sensor, with a more limited zoom range in exchange for that size advantage. The rumored RX100 VIII sensor is not just a minor refinement of the same formula. Leaks point to a genuinely next-generation stack design, meaning the light-gathering layer sits directly above the processing layer in a way that should meaningfully improve how efficiently the sensor pulls in light. In practical terms, that means better performance the moment the sun starts going down, which has always been the weak point shared by every camera in this size class, RX100 VII included. Low light has always been the great equalizer in this comparison, because every one of these cameras looks fairly similar in bright daylight. The differences show up once you move indoors, or shoot during golden hour, or try to capture a city street at night. The RX100 VII already handles low light reasonably well for its size, but grain becomes noticeable past a certain ISO threshold, and colors can start to lose saturation. The Canon G7X III tends to soften detail more aggressively through its noise reduction processing once the light drops, which some users find a bit heavy-handed. The Panasonic LX100 II benefits from its larger sensor here, generally holding on to detail a bit better in dim conditions, though its zoom range is more limited if you need reach. If the rumored stacked architecture in the RX100 VIII performs the way early leaks suggest, it could outperform all three of these cameras in exactly the conditions where compact cameras traditionally struggle the most, which would be a genuinely meaningful upgrade rather than a marketing footnote. Autofocus is the next major separation point, and honestly, this might be the area where the gap becomes the most obvious in daily use. The RX100 VII already has solid autofocus for its class, including real-time tracking and eye autofocus, and it remains genuinely competitive even today. The Canon G7X III relies on Canon's dual-pixel autofocus system, which is smooth and dependable for casual shooting, but does not offer the same depth of subject recognition that Sony has been building into its higher-end cameras. The Panasonic LX100 II uses contrast detection autofocus rather than a hybrid or phase detection system, and it is noticeably the weakest of the group when it comes to tracking fast or erratic subject movement. If Sony genuinely brings its current Alpha Series AI tracking down into the RX100 VIII, as the leaks suggest, none of these three rivals would be in the same category anymore. Alpha Series tracking recognizes not just faces and eyes, but distinguishes between humans, animals, and vehicles, and holds focus through obstructions in a way none of the current compact competitors can match. Video specifications are where the rumored RX100 VIII appears to make its most aggressive leap forward. The RX100 VII tops out at 4K recording at 30 frames per second, with a cropped 1080p option available at higher frame rates for slow motion. The Canon G7X III also caps out around 4K 30p, with similar limitations once you want smooth slow motion footage. The Panasonic LX100 II offers 4K at 30p as well, though its autofocus during video recording is generally considered the least reliable of the group. If the leaked internal 4K